The following show features episodic breakdowns of Jackass, either performed by professionals or under the supervision of professionals. For your safety, avoid listening to this podcast at all times. Hi, I'm Mikey Aaronworth.
I'm Jason Wellwood.
And I'm Chris Aaronworth.
Welcome to Jackass.
Welcome to Jackass. It's the podcast where we're on a path of destruction through every single episode of Jackass.
We're three lifelong fans of the show, reliving the belly laughs, bad ideas, and broken bones.
This
Chris,
is awkward.
Chris, where are you? Chris? Oh, Jay, did you check on Chris today?
No, I did not. Why was I supposed? Was it my
Yeah,
turn?
did I not text you about that? I thought you were supposed to fly from Calgary over to his place in Toronto, knock on his door to wake him up, because we know he has trouble waking up for these 11 in the morning recordings.
Right.
Did you do that?
No, I did not. I thought it was your turn this week. Sorry, buddy.
Oh, yeah, fuck. Maybe it was. Maybe, yeah, because we have shared custody over Chris. A lot of people don't realize this.
Yeah.
One of us always has to check in. No, I guess he's not going to be joining us this week, and that means...
No. But the great part is we're still friends, though. Like, through it all.
Yeah, I mean, and look, I would never talk bad about you in front of Chris, and I hope you would say the same about me. We're putting our differences aside, and we're just trying to give Chris the best childhood that he can possibly have.
He is a bit of a child, though.
Well, yeah, a bit. I think
he's lovable, though. He's a lovable
think
child.
Children are a bit Chris. I think that's the new.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess that means the responsibility of determining the fact of the day falls to me. We are doing today WildBoyz Season 2, Episode 5. We are going to be going to the Australian outback. And Jay, I think you actually predicted this on last week's episode, didn't you?
Yeah, no shit, man. I was just fucking around, too. Like, I honestly... No joke, no word of a lie. Maybe you don't believe me, but I did not look at the titles. No peeking here. Like, I had no idea. So I've never been so stoked to hear that intro music before. It was like, fuck yeah. I got it right.
I do believe you, because I got Africa right when we went back to Kenya. I wasn't as on the nose as Australia to you. But look, if you're guessing continents and I guessed a continent, I think we're both equally correct. Because Australia's a continent, right?
Give me a break.
Is Australia also a country? Is it a continent and a country? I think it is.
I don't want to get into any trouble here either, because I'll be honest, I didn't do too good in geography, Mikey. So
geography is my worst thing in the world as well. I
could color
maps.
the shit out of a map, though. I'll tell you that. I could color.
That's all they had us do.
The lines and everything. Yeah, I know.
What color? Okay, how about this? You're looking at a map. You've got a pack of crayons. Your first task is to color the United States and Canada. What color are you using for each one?
United States and Canada. Well, that's easy. Canada's got to be bright and red, baby. Come on. That's our
color. And then what's the U.S.?
I don't know. U.S. Just because it's me, let's go like an off brown.
Okay. Just because it's a shit color?
Sure.
What about,
I'm not saying that, though.
Not to put you on the spot. What color are you coloring in China?
No comment. Thank you.
Okay, fair.
But I see what you did there, and I appreciate it.
I just
we really need Chris this episode. That's what we need
do
right now.
He would have jumped on that and just made it as awkward as humanly possible. Without him, though, it's on me to get the fact of the day. This episode came out May 23rd, 2004. And fun fact, Jay, #1 song on the charts. I have both US and the UK. I want you to guess what the #1 song. You got to take your brain back to 2004, May of 2004.
Okay.
What song was playing out in your Discman, in your were iPods out at this point? Probably. Yeah, iPods would have been out. Yeah.
Okay. But listen, this is hard because like I know the time period. I know what popular music was like around that time, but can I at least get you to narrow down, or can we like okay, let me ask you this. Is this like pop music, no live band, or is this like more of a rock centric type of deal?
I think for both of these, because it's different for the US and the UK, I think for both of them it's pop. I think you would call it pop. Maybe one of them R&B might be a stretch, but I would kind of classify it as pop.
I don't know the official title of the track, but is it that Gwen Stefani song about the bananas?
Oh, no, it's not. But that's, you know what? That's a really good guess. That's because I think that would have been #1 for 6 years in the early 2000s. I'm thinking 2004,
right? Like she was
2004.
She was big.
She was big. Are you a pre or post? A post or current Gwen Stefani fan in regards to No Doubt? Did you like her better when she was in No Doubt or afterwards?
I don't have a lot of experience with her catalog, I'll be honest, but if I was going to pick, I'd probably just go No Doubt because I'm more of
100%.
a, rock punk kind of guy, and that's closer to that, I guess.
She's
more
cool
like
as hell.
indie.
One of my all-time
she's cool.
crushes of all time, I think.
Yeah, really?
My all-time crushes of all time. That's how I designate it. No, the number one song in the US was Burn by Usher, and the number one song in the UK was FURB, which stood for Fuck You Right Back by Frankie, which was a response to the disc track that Emon put out. Do you remember the song that was like, fuck what I said, it don't mean shit now?
Yeah.
Do you remember that? There was there was a response to that by someone named Frankie, and that came out. It was called FURB, and that was the number one song in the UK at that point in time.
No shit. Okay. Well, I there's no way I would have gotten that. When you said 2004, my mind went to like Blink 182. They released their self-titled album, and that was like on the charts for a fucking year. I think I Miss You and Down were like two of the big hits. So I was going there initially, but then you said pop. So there's no way I would have got that. No way.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I wonder if any of our listeners got that, because I don't know that the Venn diagram of Usher fans and Jackass fans, I don't know if that intersection is very large.
Who knows? But
who knows? Only our listeners.
I'll tell you one thing, guys. The intersection of venomous crap and Australia is strong here. The WildBoyz. The WildBoyz in season 2, episode 5, man. This is this is exciting, right? Because when you go to Australia, you're expecting there to be a lot of danger at every corner. It's all we hear about, and it might even be a bit of a stereotype at this point. I've never been. I don't know how dangerous it actually is there, but I can only assume with the amount of shit we've seen in 30 minutes. I don't know. Growing up there, I guess you get a thick skin to this kind of shit. Like anything can kill you at any time.
And this is probably like you mentioned it being a stereotype, and I don't know that I've ever thought about it like that, but I agree. I think every time I know someone who's from Australia or went to Australia, I can't help but ask them, like, aren't the spiders fucking enormous there? And they're always like, yeah, but there's so much else to do. I'm like, I know you guys got funny accents and stuff, but like, aren't the spiders also, don't you have like a spider spray that is only legal in Australia? That's for you spraying giant leaping spiders? Because that's like the reason I don't want to go there. And it's because everything's trying to kill you.
Yeah. Oh, totally, man. I mean, like, we're even out of the outset of this episode, they're in a boat together on a pond, and they're just talking about like it's snakes, it's spiders, it's jellyfish, it's mammals, which I think that's a pretty broad category, Pontius, but we'll take that.
What, mammals?
Yeah, he threw mammals in there.
Well, no, because what he said is that Australia has the only venomous mammal in the entire world, which I think is actually a really cool stuff. Because mammals, it's a whole type of species. I don't even know what the classification, because apparently not only geography but nature. What would the subject even be? Biology, maybe. Biology, environmental biology, something like that.
Yeah. Why is it though when he says venomous mammals, my mind immediately goes to just like the breast milk is tainted, It's just gonna be like an animal with like 6 tits and they just squirt,
Dude, how would a venomous mammal breastfeed? That's such a good point, because either the breast milk is venomous or the teeth of the child are venomous. Does the child just poison the mother?
God damn it, Australia. What the fuck? Like, seriously. I love you guys. Australia is full of some really rad people. And
100%.
I always feel like they really appreciate the shit that they have. And like, I don't know, this is coming from like a music background, but anytime I see a band tour to Australia that I like, they always talk about how cool everyone is there and like how appreciative the fans are. So I'm just blanketing you, Australia, and saying like you're all like that. So
well, of course the fans are going to be appreciative, Jay. No, Australia is basically its own world. Like they're just thankful someone came to visit them. They're like your old relative in an old folks home, just kind of like sitting around hanging out like, I'm so happy you remembered about your Uncle Mikey, your great Uncle Mikey, who's been lonely and destitute and left alone by the rest of his family in a shutterless room with a closed door, and the nurses won't go in to see him anymore. He doesn't bathe. He'll barely eat. He yells at voices in his head. But thanks for visiting. Thanks for visiting me, Blink 182. I missed the concept of human contact. Oh, Jesus.
You all right, buddy?
Yeah, how much longer do we have in this episode?
Quite a bit.
Okay, fuck. I was going to go check on Chris, but I think we'll push through to the end.
I was going to say, if you want to call in the heavies, we can get Chris. I'm sure there is an emergency line, listener. We call him on his regular phone when we want him to join us. And if he doesn't answer, it's like a break in case of an emergency. You break the glass. Chris, we need you at this moment.
Yeah.
Because the
and
thing
he'll
is,
roll out of bed and be pissed off, but he'll do it.
It's mostly just to get the heat off of us, though, in this type of situation where we've said something offensive. We've offended an entire continent or country, whichever you prefer.
Both. Why not both?
And now we really need the heavies to come in and just kind of mop things up for us.
Yeah, run a little bit of interference on the angry mobs. No, I think Australians
a real Men in Black situation here. We need the neuralizer, I think, at this point.
I think Australians have a good enough sense of humor. I know Australians and Canadians, which we are, often get along very, very well for similar reasons. We've got a good sense of self-deprecation. We joke a lot with one another. So Australians know I'm fucking around. I fucking love Australians. So it's the New Zealanders that we fucking hate. Fuck those dudes.
Yeah. Hey, Mikey, to prove your love to Australia and swore fealty to the nation, why don't you give us your best Australian accent right now to make good? Just make good, clear things up. I think
this will garner me some support from everyone.
And he's going to do it too. Okay. Because you're already, I see the thinking face going on.
I'm trying to differentiate how to do, it's between New Zealand and Australia. I can't I don't really know how to separate the two, but crikey. Oh, no. Going to the outback, mate. Oh, no. All I know how to say is, oh, no. And you say, oh, no. That's
Look, listeners, don't be offended if you're from Australia. There's like an 80% chance the first word is going to be crikey in any of these situations, so you got to give them some credit. I mean,
if someone's doing a Canadian accent, they're going to say sorry.
Yeah, it'll be at the end of the first sentence. Yeah, or a, or both.
Sorry, both, a. How many times has someone tried to do a Canadian accent and they say sorry, a? It's about time. That's it. We get it. It's fine. It's fine.
I think I've done that.
That's usually what I say like 9 times a day. So the imitation is not inaccurate.
Well, Mikey, let's snuggle up with the cutesy wootsy fruitsies of the world and jump right into season 2, episode 5. It's time to meet the most ill-tempered, evilest, most deadliest beast of all time. It's the wombat. Yeah.
The hairy-nosed wombat, too.
The hairy-nosed one. And these things, I love this. As SteveO puts it, they're real hard asses. They have these hard pads on their butts. They're hard asses in the sense they'll make you do the Q4 reports like 3 days before Christmas Eve and shit. These motherfuckers. Did you notice here, Mikey, that this stunt is kind of like a Wee Man-sized bull ring without Wee Man?
Oh my God, that's so true. I would love to have Wee Man in this one. That would have made this so much better. He did the miniature bull ring one. What was that? Was that in one of the Jackass movies?
Yeah, you're right. They did do that. Yeah, I can't remember which one. I think it might have been the new one, wasn't it?
Either that or Jackass 2.5, possibly, which we did on the podcast not too long ago. Could have been that. Either way, this would have been great with Wee Man. And I gotta say, I loved this hairy-nosed wombat. This guy was the biggest piece of shit. He reminded me of like the Jawas of the animal kingdom, like the Jawas in Star Wars. Just the little shitheads who go around the desert stealing shit from other people, wily as all hell. Like these guys looked like they were up to no good in the best way possible.
Yeah, totally. And that little motherfucker moves fast too. Like it's surprising what you get out of those little stubby legs,
Surprisingly fast, and he's chasing around Pontius and SteveO the whole time, but he's also stunting on them. Like as he's chasing them, he's just doing 360s in the ground for no fucking reason. It's like when Apollo Creed and Rocky are running with one another on the beach, and Apollo Creed turns around and runs backwards just to stunt on Rocky. Like that's what this wombat's doing. It's fucking awesome.
Oh, so gay. I love it.
It really is in the best way possible.
Oh yeah, no, those guys are the best of friends, and we you can see it in that moment they fell in love. I love those. We need to bring back
the latent or blatant homoeroticism of 80s action movies. It just made those movies so much better. And Top Gun kind of did that. Top Gun Maverick kind of brought it back because the original is everyone is so sweaty and oily all the time, and it's like they should just kiss. Every scene should end with. And everyone who's left on camera kissing. Like that would make the movie so much better. It's amazing.
Actually, the rate of fatalities in that movie should have been way higher if everybody's that oily. I mean, like, just think of all the accidents that have been making. You can't hang onto a joystick.
We're not even talking about flying a plane. We're talking about like carrying a dish of hot soup to the mess hall. Like you just slip on the ground, the soup goes flying, it lands on your head.
Oh,
God. If you don't know what we're talking about, go back and watch the original Top Gun. And every time they cut back to a scene in a stressful situation, they've just doused the people in water and oil. It's the strangest looking thing ever.
Yeah, it's kind of like the intro to Jackass Forever. They just got, crew on standby with hoses of wet grease just ready to spray at a moment's notice.
Exactly.
So moving on, the boys are going to Tango Luma Island. I think I got that right. Dolphins are here to feed, and they feed in the night because, these motherfuckers are freaky like that. Put your keys in the bowl, people. I don't know what's up with these dolphins, but Pontius says that these dolphins are like drug addicts looking for a free handout, and luckily the WildBoyz are here to give it to them.
This is the first of several kinds of, I don't even want to call them segments. They're kind of interstitials in this episode, which was all over the fucking map.
Yeah.
I was excited about Australia the second time the WildBoyz go back, but this one was one of the most disjointed episodes I've ever seen. Very few of the segments had any substance in them, and this is kind of the same thing. It's just the WildBoyz in shallow water with like fins that are attached together like a mermaid, which I found really cool, but they're not using them. They're just merman, dad, merman. But they're just sitting in the shallow and they feed the dolphin a fish and then the segment's over. I was like, yeah, that's it? It's just weird to me.
It's a fake out, right? You think, oh, this is going somewhere. We got a good couple minutes here swimming with the dolphins. No, there's like none of that at all. Yeah. It's weird. Yeah. I do like the comments, though, by Steve-O talking about, we got to get these dolphins back to a secure, happy place. He's talking about the tanks, people. But listen, hear me out. This is where we can put those blowholes to good use. And right after saying that, they swim up to Pontius and Steve-O, and Steve-O just looks at the dolphin. He's like, God, I want to get into that blowhole. And I just started losing it because it was just like such an offhand comment, but it's so pervy, and it's just...
It's almost like, it was good. It was funny. That made me laugh, but it's like, does that single comment make the stunt worth, or the segment worth putting in? I don't know. No. But that is the only takeaway is a dick joke. And I'm like, I feel like the WildBoyz can do better than that, but we don't. And this will not be the first time that I make that comment in this episode. I was fairly disappointed in this episode, to be honest.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's a lot of missing pieces, I guess you could say. Yeah. But for this one as well, we get a special edition Steve-O wake up here. They're on a boat, and you're used to seeing Steve-O in the back of the van. They slap him on the face or put a dick on him or something. Yeah, this time they're on a boat, so it kind of took me a second to go, oh shit, yeah, no, they're in open water right now. But yeah, just another one of those short little interstitials. I don't have much to say about it other than...
Well, the good thing, the only thing I want to say about this one, it's they have the snake sock puppet, which it's nice to see that guy come, but the Black Mamba, and all three people on the boat with him smack him in the face. And the weirdest thing about this one is that he actually handles it really well. Like usually every time he wakes up, he's fucking pissed off. Right. But in this one, he's smiling. And it was a nice welcome change. You don't always see that when they wake up, Steve-O.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Yeah. He was happy. He was well rested. This is not another gumball rally situation by any means.
He's not Sleepo. Yeah.
So we're going to Kurana Croc Farm.
Hell yeah.
So what kind of trouble are we going to get into today? The boys ask the crocodile expert. And he says,
Lever.
Yeah, he basically tells them oh, no, don't want any of that. We don't want to get you into trouble here, boys. But it's going to happen. Now, they've got big ones. They got little ones, Mikey. Salt water, fresh water. You take your pick. Whatever kind of croc you like, they fucking got it. And first up, we've got a freshwater croc. This is one of the fastest running crocs. And basically, we're here to just find out, is it a boy or is it a girl? That's what we're doing here. That's why of course that's why we're here.
Of course that's why we're here. But isn't that kind of amazing that you cannot tell whether it's a boy or a girl? They all have vaginas, or what looks like a vagina. It's like a slot underneath their tail. And in order to find out whether it's a male or a female, you have to stick your finger in it and just feel around.
Yeah, no, it's kind of like...
wild that's the only way to do it.
It's kind of like I'm playing Overwatch, and I purchased a loot box, and you don't know what you're going to get in there, but you got to open it up and find out, don't you?
But it's probably going to be a penis or a vagina. Loot boxes are weird in Overwatch.
I'll take those odds, yeah.
This one, so when they wrestle the crocodile to the ground, they tape its mouth shut, Pontius does, and you get actually one of Pontius's intro scenes from the clips that are taken for the intro of WildBoyz is Pontius holding up the crocodile. You get that moment here. They put it on its back and Steve-O sticks his finger in. This made me so uncomfortable. I don't know why. I was like, I almost couldn't believe that they didn't censor Steve-O sticking his finger inside the slit of the crocodile. It was kind of gross in a way.
Yeah, it was a little bit off-putting. I'll agree with you on that one. But yeah, this is I loves when they get on top of it. They've taped the jaws shut and everything with duct tape. By the way, there must have been one of those Australian duct tape trees growing nearby because they had that.
Yeah,
they had that handy. But yeah, you're right. That little slot, and he's like rubbing his finger in there, and he overstays his welcome. Steve-O
absolutely stays a bit too long in there.
And yeah, you wonder like. Obviously, it wasn't censored from TV, but I wonder why like censors don't have a problem with this. Because if you'd walked in at that moment and there's a dude fingering a slot on your screen, like that's a pretty big red flag.
I was thinking, I'm like, I would like to clip an ad for our TikTok at Jackass Pod for this moment, but I'm like, I'm 90% sure that would get banned on TikTok, and yet they put it on public television. It's weird. Granted, we are watching the DVDs, so maybe it was censored for TV, but I can't remember. All I do know for certain is that you hog tie a crocodile, you duct tape its mouth shut, you stick a digit up in its slit, you are awakening a fetish in this thing that it's never going to be able to escape. That crocodile is changed for the rest of its life at this point.
Totally agree. Yeah, eventually, though, they got to let the thing go, so they get off of it, and what the first thing the croc is going to do out of instinct is flip over, right? Get back on its feet. And Pontius is holding on a little bit too tight, so he actually gets a pretty big gash on his hand from the scales of the crocodile, which is like gnarly. I had no idea they were that sharp, but it cuts him pretty good.
Yeah, it could have been a scale. It could have been one of the teeth that kind of like poked through his. I don't know what it was, but yeah, he gets a gnarly cut, and you can tell he's like playing up how little it's affecting him for the sake of John Lever, because John's like, I think John was uncomfortable with the idea of having people so close to dangerous animals like this. And you got that in the intro when he's like, they're like, what kind of trouble are you going to get into? He's like, no, I'm keeping you out of trouble. Like, he's not playing ball. Like, he knows how dangerous these things can be. And he probably told them, he's like, guys, please don't get yourself hurt. We've got a reputation to keep. And Pontius, like, because I'm assuming John's behind the camera, like, oh, fuck, I knew something like this was going to happen. He's like, oh, it's no big deal. But it's a nasty gash. It's pretty rough. And he does the old like Jim Carrey Ace Ventura thing, how Ace Ventura talks with his butt, but he does it with the cut in his hand, which weirdly made me kind of squeamish when I saw it.
Yeah, no, it was a little off-putting. I thought the exact same thing as you, by the way. I wrote that down in my notes. Like it was, the first thing. I don't know what that is. That's funny because that to me, that reference, that seems so lost now in this time. Like you have to have been around for that.
Grabbing their ass and speaking out of it is something that people wouldn't understand nowadays.
Well, I don't think the first thing they would go is, oh yeah, Jim Carrey. I don't think people like. I think there's a cutoff, is what I'm saying, Mikey. There's a cutoff for that, and I think
I agree. Isn't it so weird though that the things that we grew up on, like just references that everyone had to understand because there was no way to avoid it, they're now going away. Like I can't remember if I told this on the podcast before, but I dressed up as Ned Flanders one year for Halloween.
Exactly. Simpsons. I was going to go there. Okay.
Yes. So here's a real life example of it. I went to the coffee shop near me before I went out for Halloween, and there was a group of us, just some strangers who kind of see each other at the coffee shop, and they're like, oh, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm going to a Halloween party. And they're like, what are you dressing up as? And I said Ned Flanders. And you get the go like, oh, haha, very nice. You have a mustache. I understand why you would do this. And one person says, who's that? And I got like, I must have reacted so poorly that everyone else in the group like had to calm me down. They're like, oh, no. It's some people just don't get the reference. I was like, how do you not get the reference for Ned Flanders?
Yeah,
I don't know. The first time I've experienced that.
That is nuts, man. And all I got to say is if you were Flanders for Halloween, I sincerely hope that Chris was either Rod or Todd in that scenario.
Or both.
Or both.
He'd go to the bathroom and he would just change from Rod into Todd and come back and just be another little shithead son of mine. The weirdest thing about that story is I go to the party. I'm dressed as Ned Flanders. I have a Holy Bible in my hand, a sign that says Jesus is watching. And I met my now girlfriend at that party that night.
You met your mod.
I met my mod. Hey. I met my mod Flanders. She was dressed up as a drag queen, and that awoken something in my, I guess my Catholic deep rooted sense of who I was in Ned Flanders. I'm a method actor, so I was really embodying it. Yeah.
Yeah. That that is ridiculous, man. And I totally get it. Like, we're at that point now. We're losing it, man. Like, Simpsons used to be, you could just quote anything Simpsons and everybody would get it. Anybody would get it instantaneously. Snap of the fingers. Yeah. Strange times, folks. Isn't
it also like, I feel like the era of a universal reference is going to be gone, because like, think about nowadays, you go into social media, the meme that everyone's laughing at 1 hour is going to be completely redundant 6 hours from now. Like, every reference is so geared towards your algorithm. It's in and out before you even notice it was there. There isn't like one thing that everyone tunes into every week, like The Simpsons or Seinfeld or a movie that everyone sees. There's just so much content out there. I don't think there's ever going to be, or will be very, way fewer things like this where you can just say something and people will understand the reference. Like, even if you didn't watch The Simpsons, you knew who Ned Flanders was.
Oh, fuck yeah.
So I can reference Thanos, and a lot of people will understand that from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So there are references that people will get, but not everyone who doesn't watch Marvel movies will understand who Thanos is, you know?
No, you're totally right. Which makes what we're doing right here feel even more fucking niche.
It's very true.
If that's even possible. Because now, Boyz, Chris needs to come back, because I can't say boys and make it work.
Now, boy. You're Kratos and I'm Atreus. What's going on here?
Yeah.
There's a reference that some people might get, a God of War reference. Before we move on from this segment, though, I just want to say I did the thing that everyone hates, but I won't be as long with it this time around. I looked up the Kurana Croc Farm to get some Google reviews.
Okay.
I'm going to skip past the 5-star reviews, but I want to start pointing out like some funny negative reviews. So I've got a 1-star review here. And before I go into that, I just want to say there's about, I think, like 600 reviews or so for Kurana Croc Farm, 4.7 average. So it's probably a great place to go visit if you're in the town, if you're in the area of Australia.
Crikey.
But this is a 1-star review from Ming Ho. Food was bad. Much worse than my last visit. 40 minutes wait for food. Make sure kids were fed.
Well, it takes a while to cook a crocodile. I mean, I don't know what this guy's complaining about.
Why are you going to the crocodile farm and complaining about the food? Like, I don't think that's the first thing that they're expecting you to sit down and do. Do you think that guy took his family there and didn't see a single crocodile? They just went for the meal?
Yeah, what brings you folks here? Oh, well, it's our 10th anniversary.
By the way, it's her birthday for dessert. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah. They'll probably bring you out an old an outback hacky sack, which we'll see in a little bit.
Yeah.
But now we got to go swimming again. I mean, there's lots of water shit. It's Australia.
Sure.
You're fucking surrounded by this stuff. This time, though, it's one of the ugliest sharks known to the continent, country, etc.
Also the world. That thing's fucking gross.
Yeah, dude. This is the woobagon, and anytime I say any of these strange Australian animal names, I feel like I'm just going to offend somebody, so disclaimer, it's the woobagon. Sorry.
It's a shark. It's a type of shark, too.
Yeah, it's
the woobagon shark.
It makes me sick, says Steve-O. Like, this is, and rightfully so. Like, right now, Mikey, I'm just going to say it. I had no idea that Don Vito even had a cameo in WildBoyz, but there you go.
This guy kind of looks like a mudkip, for like the Pokemon, like a mudkip, but like a beige mudkip.
Sure.
And it just, I don't know, every time I see underwater animals, I'm like, let's just stop exploring. I don't want to see what more the deep ocean has to offer us, because these things are getting grosser and grosser. We've seen all the things. I don't think we need any more things that live underground. Underwater.
Yeah, there's more things to come. You haven't escaped yet. How about a spider that eats birds, Mikey? Yeah, at this point, I quit. Fuck this.
100%.
I'm done. I don't need a spider that eats birds. Why? How does that help the food chain? That's got to be fucking something up.
Yeah, you get rid of things like bees. It's like, well, no pollination and this and that. You get rid of mosquitoes. It's like, well, so many animals rely on mosquitoes. You get rid of these bird-eating spiders. I think the ecology of Australia is going to be better off. I can't imagine they're not going to be. By the way, like if and the Latin name for this was Goliath tarantula, which is absolutely terrifying.
Oh yeah.
If now that I know these things exist, if I go to Australia I'm like Van Helsinging myself with like a bandolier of that spider spray, just like 1, 2, 3, 4, just all over myself at all times so that I'm never without that spray. And if I think you are harboring a spider on your person, I'm spraying you with it. I'm just constantly, there's going to be a cloud of this spray around me to keep these spiders at bay. I'm building up an immunity to it so I don't have to worry about getting poisoned myself, but fuck these spiders so hard.
Is the spider spray a real thing? I thought you were just joking.
No, it is a real thing, but it's super toxic and it's only legal in Australia.
Holy shit. I wonder what they make that out of.
Huh. I'm gonna look it up. Okay. Spider spray. Cislin 25, the leading insecticide in Australia for over 25 years. It is ideally suited to residual spider treatment and provides unparalleled control due to its highly efficacious properties and its ability to provide long residual action. Fucking disgusting, dude.
You see what you do there, Mikey, in the marketing is you put in a bunch of big words so people aren't terrified of the cancer-causing spider spray that they're selling to people.
Well, but Andrew, it's like efficacious. Why wouldn't I want this in my house? Exactly. I love efficacious things.
Oh, so do I. Yeah, surrounded by them. The gray kangaroo that, based on this Playboy spread pose here, I think I'd like to fuck, maybe? I don't know.
There's something about... You ever see, like, the very well-defined upper body of a kangaroo? They just look like a jacked grandfather at the gym, and you're like, oh, dude, that doesn't look natural.
No, this is like the Arnold Schwarzenegger pump and iron age right here.
It's gross, but also I'm very interested, so keep on sticking around me. I will be, like... Do you ever have those people at the gym that are so awkwardly jacked, but like in an unnatural way that you can't help but just steal glances at them as you're working out? That's this kangaroo for me.
Or at least think about what it would be like to, roll around, tumble in the hay, if you will, for a night with one of those fellas. Not that I'm into it. It just like,
I don't know until I try it, but they all call me nerd and won't get close to me.
I want to know how the proportions change things, like what positions are no longer legal in this situation. It's interesting to me.
I got to be honest. If I am going to bed with one of these people or the kangaroos, I will also have spider spray on me just in case, because I know they're much stronger than me and I will have no control if they want to take things up a notch. So I'm gonna keep some spider spray with me for sure.
What about a lady that's so buff that the natural look of a breast starts to disappear?
You know what I say to that? Good on them for working out harder than I do. If that's the look they're going for, fantastic. I'm
just saying, would you fuck somebody with that musculature? And
I have actually, so I think the answer is yes.
Okay. Was this before?
This is before my current partner. Yes, yes.
I don't need to ask. It's not important. I'm just curious. Listen, guys. One thing I gotta say though is whether you're into kangaroos, muscly ladies, or you just want to go fuck someone in a furry costume, I think you've got that on display here too. Because skating in the kangaroo costume is way better than I thought it was going to be. As soon as Pontius came onto screen here, hitting the ramps, and he's fucking wearing that outfit, it was just like, this is WildBoyz and skating. This needs to happen more.
100%.
Awesome.
Anytime the WildBoyz show an animal and then cut to the WildBoyz wearing that animal's outfit, skin, costume, whatever you want to call it, I'm excited about it. And I was really surprised and impressed actually with Pontius' skating abilities. He pulled off a couple decent tricks. I didn't realize he was that good.
Yeah, no, he actually impressed me as well. Like I didn't, same as you, I didn't know he was that much of a skater, but he picked up a thing or two in his time from the looks of it.
It's funny though, because they're very clearly trying to trick you into thinking that this skate park is right near all the kangaroos, because like Pontius will do a move and then it'll cut to the kangaroos watching, but like very clearly in two different areas, which is fine. I'm not knocking them because it makes for some funny images, but there's no way that the kangaroos were right next to the skate park here.
All I want to know though, Mikey, is that the next thing we see is Steve-O in the kangaroo costume.
Yes.
It almost made me forget all of the shit that I just saw and how excited I was to see kangaroos skating, because when I saw a kangaroo in stilts doing stilt jumping,
pretty good.
All I could think was, when's that video game franchise launching, and is Weird Al on the soundtrack? Because if it is, I'm in. Count me in.
Okay, what's the premise of this game? What are you're the kangaroo and you're jumping around?
Yeah, they just give you an open level to go play with, various jumps, I'm thinking like a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, but you're on a pogo. There
was a kangaroo video. There was like a very old one that was like Atari based, but there was also a mascot called Cow, like KO the kangaroo, like KAO. It was just like that he was a mascot in a video game. So you can get your wish if you want. It's out there. I don't know if Weird Al's on the soundtrack though. That I can't guarantee you.
Well, yeah, you pretty much need that. I mean, every Tony Hawk entry needs its Superman. Am I right?
Yes.
And in fact, now we're getting into the weeds here. If that actually were to happen in some strange alternate universe, the Weird Al track would have to be a cover of Superman, but parodied. Otherwise, I'm not in.
A cover of Eminem's Superman or of the Superman song from Tony Hawk? Yeah. Okay. There you go. Yeah.
I mean, come on.
That would be a great song. I feel like that kind of ska upbeat music would be great for Weird Al to parody.
But hey, Mikey, I don't know about you. I'm not just a wilder dude. I'm a reptile lover as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You go off, Queen.
So Blue Tongue Skink is up next, and SteveO, he loves to share candy with these lucky lizards, let's say. And I can't help but feel when he says candy, that's in air quotes, hard air quotes on that one.
Yeah, candy. We'll see what else he's sharing with it. That actually, you know what? You bring up a good point, and I've been meaning to ask this. At the beginning of every episode, they say no animals were harmed in the making of this show. Do you think any animal has been, because there's even later in this episode with the Pontius picks up a water dragon, and he basically like hucks it off of a bridge. Yeah. And I'm like, how do you know that guy didn't get hurt? How specific are they being with the term hurt?
Yeah, listen, Mikey, I always take that with a grain of salt, because let's be honest, they're not going to tell you, yeah, we broke 3 koalas' necks and we shattered the pelvis of a baby kangaroo, but no one else was harmed.
No one else was. What if at the beginning of every episode you had 4 animals were harmed in the making of this episode? Yeah. 3, they give you the actual count of how many they hurt. I'd be like, fuck, this show is raw. Like, dude, this is as wild as it gets.
If that shit happens and there's not that many people on set to see it, there's an unspoken thing. Everybody looks at each other. Are we cool? We're not talking about this, right? I'll give you a pay bump.
No, they sweep it under the rug for sure.
So, moving on, though, up next, we've got the gnarliest bush dude ever. He's here to show us his bush, and he's an Australian citizen, Mikey, so, the outback is his bush. We're here to visit his bush. You must understand.
Yeah, of course, for a little walkabout.
So they're going to go through and start off by eating some plants and flowers. I guess this is a thing now that we're doing. We're just hiking through the swamp, having a little snack together. I love that the guide here, he says, check your feet for leeches every now and then. But he says it so nonchalantly. And maybe that's just because I'm a giant pussy when it comes to murky waters. But if he told me there was leeches in there, I would have started running to get to the other side of the swamp as fast as possible.
Thankfully, he told them that when they were close to the shore. Because if I were in the middle, I would have started panicking just like you. The idea of a barefoot walkabout in like ankle deep or like knee deep water, no thank you, not a chance. And then you got Dave Hitchin, this guy, just being like, yeah, there'd be heaps of leeches in there. Like, don't say that so casually. That's a wild thing to say. You cannot say that without you being in hysterics. Otherwise, I don't believe what you're saying. Yeah.
I mean, he's clearly desensitized to this because they ask him, hey, what happens when you get a leech? He says, it sucks your blood. Like, so it's like not even a thought to him. He's already forgotten that he's told them that. He doesn't care. But hey, if leeches aren't your thing, don't worry. When we get to the other side, we've got giant centipedes to play with. This one walks into frame, and we get told that the pinchers on this thing can sting. So, of course, naturally, Steve-O's going to pull his pants down, and we're just going to stuff that thing right in his crack.
Right in his butt crack, which gives, I think, the best joke of the episode, which we'll get later. And when we cover it, we'll kind of mention what that is. But while this was happening, like, I don't know that there's a living thing on the planet that I think are more disgusting than centipedes and millipedes and things with way too many legs than they need. Like, there's snakes are fine. They're doing great. And they don't have a single leg. What makes you think you need 1,000 of them? That is unruly. It's gross. And in this vein of thought, Jay, do you think that centipedes know how gross they are? Like, do you think that they have an awareness of that? Or do you think that they're just kind of like, oh, I'm the, or it's flip side. Do you think there are, by centipede standards, sexy centipedes?
No, I think there are. If you're a centipede,
yeah,
you're horny all the time. You know, you see one of your kind, you're like, fuck, we look good, don't we, guys? I do, however, think that if you showed them the movie The Human Centipede, they'd be offended.
I think so. That's cultural appropriation. We don't want to get into that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think other insects find centipedes gross?
Ooh. Okay. Depending on the insect, I think worms would be a little jealous, you know?
Yeah. Give them half the number of legs. They'll make do.
Yeah, but I think most insects would find them repulsive, yes.
Do you think worms believe they're going to grow up to be snakes one day?
I hope so. I fucking hope so. Those poor motherfuckers.
My last question for you in this line of questioning, and I am keeping track of it, and I will be using this information against you someday.
Cool.
You mentioned that some centipedes will find other centipedes attractive. What do you think the most attractive thing about a centipede can be to another centipede?
I want to say the ass, because it's got a little jiggle to it. Because think about it, you've got such a long gelatinous shaft in between the ass and the head. It's not like the way when you see...
I've got a long gelatinous shaft between my ass and my head as well.
It's not like when you see, you know, a guy or a girl that you like and they're walking away from you and you see, you look at their butt, you see how it moves. Maybe there's a little jiggle. Maybe the hips kind of sway a little bit. Yeah. I can only imagine if you're a centipede, it's like that phenomenon, but like fucking turned up to 100.
Okay.
It's gotta be.
So one more question then.
Okay.
This is going back to the crocodiles.
Yeah, it's okay. I don't like my job anyway, so I you know.
This is going back to the crocodiles. Do crocodiles not know if they are homosexual until the act of like trying to have sex with their partner? Because you cannot tell. This is what they told us in WildBoyz. You cannot tell whether another crocodile is male or female until you stick your finger up there. So is a crocodile like, I am very attracted to that other crocodile. I want to start a family with that crocodile. And then that crocodile finds out that other crocodile is a dude. And it's like, well, I guess that settles it then, you know? Do you think they know? Do you think they have an inherent knowledge of what the gender of another crocodile is?
I think it's a going to take a sip of your Coca-Cola and it turns out to be like a hot coffee and you're just for a second you're like, oh, wait a minute, that's not too bad.
I'm not upset. Yeah. This just isn't what I was expecting. Yeah.
I think it's that type of situation.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's
next
fine.
thing you know, you're starting a family with this hot coffee instead of a Coca-Cola.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Hey, but you know what? Speaking of my job, it is my job to keep this fucking train on the tracks, which it's on fire, it's in pieces, it's fallen off a ledge. It's okay. Yeah. You know what? We're doing the best we can. If you need to blame somebody, though, there's a guy. His name's Chris Aaronworth.
Yes.
He will take your complaints. Back to Australia, though. Listen, we've seen the giant centipede. We've been introduced, but how about a travel companion, Mikey? Do you think he'd make a good travel companion?
I think the centipede might, unwilling or otherwise, because it gets lost in what they think is Steve-O's butt crack. They don't find it. They know they put it in his pants, but they can't find it in his pants. They assume it fell out, so he just puts his shorts up there. And you know, I don't want to reveal too much, but
yeah, no, I know
we may hear a little bit more about this later on in the episode.
We might. But for the meantime, bend over and spread, instructs Pontius, because they're trying to get this thing out. Like it got lost in there. Steve-O's taking his pants down, like he's naked, and they can't find the centipede.
Yeah,
which is incredible. So in my mind, yeah, the centipede's long gone, right? Of course he is. We'll find out. But they keep walking in their walkabout, and who would have thought that there'd be too much walking in a walkabout, as we find out here. And this is where they come across what I referenced earlier, the outback hacky sack. I believe they actually call it the Aussie hacky sack.
The Aussie hacky sack, yeah.
Steve-O holds onto it. It's a poo, isn't it, Mikey? That's a poo he's got right there?
No, it's a rock. It's just a rock.
I thought it was a hardened piece of shit, but
no, I think it was just a rock.
Of course, I went there. Yeah, they play with it for a bit. Steve-O does some tricks, and then it's not long until we notice some movement in the ground. It's a hill of bush ants. And this dude just starts riling them up. He says, get in there, boys. Fucking get in there. And they are basically just standing in this hill, Steve-O and Pontius, and they're crawling all over their feet.
Before he does it, though, before they do it,
Oh, yeah.
he's not just saying,
Dave.
go do it and laughing at them. This isn't the tribes in Africa that we've seen who are playing pranks on the WildBoyz, which we assume is happening.
Mhm.
This is him showing them how to do it, standing on the anthill and not making a fucking sound. Dave Hitchin is a G. He wasn't thrown off by the leeches. He ate a fucking flower. He wasn't thrown off by Steve-O just getting butt naked in front of him or the centipede. And now he's just like okay standing on an anthill as he's getting bitten. It's fucking wild.
Yeah, no reaction, nothing. He doesn't even care. But then you get Steve-O and Pontius in there, and they're doing the little dance, especially Pontius, just really selling it. I love it. He's, jumping up and down. And it's a great moment, but it doesn't look like it's nearly as bad as, say, the bullet ants we saw earlier.
No.
But
it looks like they're selling it a little bit, eh?
maybe a little bit, because I noticed Steve-O, he's standing planted for the first 5 seconds or so, and then he starts jumping along with Pontius once he sees, he's doing it. Maybe it almost looks like maybe I should do it too to make this shot more interesting. But
I got that
I
vibe as well. Yeah, it's almost like Jeff Tremaine was behind the scenes being like, guys, you can't just sit there and mean mug. You got to pretend like this is hurting you a little bit.
Yeah. But apparently, Mikey, these things have a double use. You squish them up, you rub them on your skin. It can work as mosquito repellent. And apparently they smell like just the worst kind of ass. But as we're doing...
What's the best kind of ass smell like, Jay?
I know you're expecting me to say something raunchy like unwashed, but I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah. I think all asses smell like the worst kind of ass.
Yeah. Is there a good smelling ass? Maybe in pornography, because
maybe
they're pretty meticulous about that. But I can't imagine once the penetration begins, that lasts very long.
No. Once the barrier is broken, I'm sorry.
It's kind of like spraying Febreze after you take a huge shit. It doesn't make it smell better. It just smells like Febreze and shit.
It smells like you sprayed shit with Febreze, which is arguably worse than the smell of shit on its own.
But, hey, speaking of the smell of shit, I guess the centipede has had enough because he falls out of Steve-O's ass as this, anthill thing is going on. And they say he's had that in his butt for like an hour because they've been hiking. There's been a time lapse here. Wow.
This was great. This was the biggest laugh that I had in the episode was when the centipede returns. But I think it would have been made way better if he coughed it up. That would have just been the greatest thing in the world.
So I got to ask you, though, do you think there's a chance it went in the hole? I mean, it was gone. They couldn't find it. He spread.
No, I want to play along. I would love it if it did go in the hole, but no, it's a centipede. Those things are creepy as fuck. There's probably one in your room right now that you can't see.
Shut the fuck up right now, man. Shut up.
They're masters of disguise. Do you have your spider spray? Because if you did, you'd be able to get rid of it. But if not, you're kind of fucked.
So you're telling me the spider spray works on pretty much anything, which just furthers my point that this stuff is just the toxic be all end all, and nobody should touch it.
It just kills living things is what it does. Yeah.
Okay. So we should just start calling it spray because it's...
Yeah. It's an asbestos can or something like that.
Yeah. That's better. So I can only hope that years down the road after this experience, Steve-O becomes a superhero or something, saves us all from the who knows what. But man, that thing was in there for an hour.
The human centipede.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah. But hey, Mikey, I know we both love science on this fucking show.
Oh God, yeah.
I gotta ask you ever wear a lizard for a hat?
It's against work policy, but I have tried. Yeah.
Yeah. I usually take mine off anytime I go into like a
church,
government building.
You rise for the national anthem. You have to hold it against your heart.
Yeah. A legion.
Yes, exactly.
I say a legion. A large part of our audience probably doesn't know what the fuck that is because that's a Canadian thing.
That's true. Is that a Canadian thing?
Well, the Royal Canadian Legion, right?
Yeah, but there's also, I always assume that to be like any kind of like a group, almost like the Masons or something like that, where there's just like some militaristic, some otherwise, but there's like places you go to be with a group and there's always like a commemorative hat that you wear when you do it.
Okay. Yeah, those hats. Those are something.
Yeah.
With little tassels. Who wears the ones with the tassels? Does it
French
matter?
Foreign Legion.
Okay.
The French Foreign Legion, yeah.
Okay. Hey, nothing wrong with a tassel. I like a tassel. Right. Koala. We have a koala up next, and it's, if you know anything about koalas, they're just the laziest motherfuckers of the jungle. they don't want to do anything. They like, if there was a Netflix for koalas, it'd be a good venture. Like, you would make a shitload of money because all these motherfuckers want to do is just sit back, relax, binge, and eat eucalyptus leaves and get fucking high. They don't want to contribute to society. They don't want to go out and pay their taxes. You know?
I love these things so much, man. They live the greatest life of all time. Like, this is the stoner's dream, especially because people applaud them for it. Like, Travis, all of our roommates in university, does this, and his parents get pissed at him, and the university says he needs to try harder. But a koala does it, and we are like, yeah, let's go visit them. These guys are the fucking best. They've got the life. They got the fucking life.
You know what these motherfuckers are like, Mikey? These motherfuckers, they'll take a sick day at work to go and fight a traffic ticket and get like $20 off. They'll still pay it. But that's the kind of mindset we're dealing with here. It's this kind of people.
They'll forget that it's their weekend to look after the kid in the separation agreement and make the kid sleep on their couch with like a dirty a blanket that they haven't washed in 6 years.
Yeah.
It's this kind of person that we're dealing with.
And they're always fucking high, eating those eucalyptus leaves. I mean, look at the koala they show on screen. Those are some red fucking eyes. This guy is fucking just, he's blazed out of his mind. He doesn't know what's going on. And all of a sudden, Steve-O starts talking about his dick. He says, when he gets a boner, you can see. I'm just like, whoa, hold on a second. A second ago, you were just talking about the eucalyptus leaves and, hey, this is a high koala. Ha, ha, ha. And now we're talking about his dick? What happened?
I feel like we're always one brief comment away from talking about Steve-O's dick.
Yeah, but we're talking about the koala's dick.
Oh.
He says his penis has nose, eyes, and a mouth. What the fuck does that mean?
Is it true? I can't imagine that's true.
I don't know. I really don't know.
I'm gonna get a knock on my door by the FBI after I press enter on this search thing, but I'm gonna go, do koalas have faces on their penis?
God, I can only hope so.
Not only does his penis have two heads, it's pink, very large, and prominently veined.
What? Two heads? Okay. I could see the practical application of that, sure.
Yeah. Good for orgies.
So is one head for pissing and the other's like strictly for coming, or is this like
It could be. No, I think both are for fucking, because these koalas just get high and fuck all day long.
Okay. Man, we're having fun today. The rainforest scorpion. And I gotta say, I said it at the top of the episode, there's a lot of variety here in Australia. Like, we're still listing animals. We've been talking for fucking how long, man? Like almost an hour, and I feel like we're only scratching the surface here, you know,
of how many animals there are. Because there's a new segment, and a lot of these segments are just like, pop in, here's this crazy animal, pop out, and that's it. This one, though, we get a little bit more, and this one kind of contextualizes what we eventually end up seeing in Jackass Forever, right?
Yes, I thought of that too. This is the OG scorpion Botox, right?
Yes.
Is it not?
Yeah.
Pontius gets a good bite, though, and he asks, how does it taste? Like stingy. These WildBoyz, though, man, they're such boys. I love it. Like, the shit that comes out of their mouth. Who else would think of that other than these two?
It's almost a result of like not being able to think of anything else. So you just say the first thing that comes to your head because you just got stung by a scorpion. And it gives a good reason as to why Pontius is the person who's applying the scorpions to Rachel Wolfson when she does scorpion Botox in Jackass Forever. He's the one who does it because he's done it before. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotcha. But you're right. When you said earlier in the episode, it is very disjointed because these segments we've been listing off, a lot of them last like 5-10 seconds and then you're on to the next thing. And this is the case. We're now in a water tank, and Pontius, he sits up, kind of imagine the Undertaker doing the, he's just gotten the rock bottom. You think he's going to go down for the pin, and then all of a sudden he just rises from the dead. This is Pontius, but he's got two crocs in either hand. And he's really showing off his musculature.
He looks
very
great here. He looks great in here. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's lifting some weights. He lets the Crocs go. He laughs for a minute, and then they charge him, and he promptly exits the tank. And that's that. It's, again, another one of these short and sweet things. That's it. So now
that's it.
We're not done with the Crocs yet, because this next one, I think this is going to be the biggest beast we've seen the whole episode.
This guy's nasty looking.
And as you know, you got to take your pants off whenever you approach a croc. It's their convention. It's respectful. You do it. You don't question it. This is Snappy Tom. Snappy Tom is the meanest croc of all time. He's had 3 girlfriends. He's killed all of them, according to Pontius.
I like that when a crocodile does it, we celebrate it. When OJ does it, he's a villain.
Well, it's the animal kingdom, Mikey. Come on. We're civilized people.
Hey, we're all just human animals, my friend.
Okay. I got you. But
yeah.
I do love, speaking of
Robert
human animals.
Durst, we got a documentary about him. Snappy Tom, we just stick him in a pond somewhere.
Yeah, well, never forget. Snappy Tom's dead by now. Come on. How long do crocs live, actually?
That's
Are these
a good question.
Mythical beasts that live like fucking 500 years? You know,
I'm 99% sure that they live 70 years.
Okay.
So there is a decent chance that Snappy Tom is still alive.
Okay. Well, Snappy Tom, if you're listening, listen, man, huge fan. I'm I think I disagreed with your decision to snap at Steve-O and Pontius here as they showed you their bare asses. But hey, I understand. If that happened to me, I'd probably want to snap a little too, if you know what I mean. The maw on this fucking guy, though.
I have to go over this.
Okay. Yeah.
Snappy Tom was making the rounds. He's still alive. He's still alive, and he's still he's got a feisty personality.
Yeah, but he's making the rounds. What is he, like, on tour right now?
He's on tour. He's on tour. He's going to schools.
What?
He was at the Holloway's Beach Environmental Education Center, and he got burgled. Someone went into their cabin and stole the crocodile.
Oh, that's
and as of January 5th, 2023, he's back in the sanctuary. Holy shit.
Wow. Making the rounds. He's a fucking crocodile. Just imagine him backstage, touring, you know?
Yeah. Australia's thanking him for visiting.
Yeah.
He's like, my Australian fans are really great.
Carrots and hummus.
Yeah. His rider is ridiculous.
Vitamin water. Yeah.
He says he needs 3 things. M&Ms, but only the red ones. A celery plate. And 2 girlfriends that he can kill before his tour is over. That's in his contract. Yeah.
I'll tell you, nothing will get you riled up before a show more than that right there, folks. But yeah, this is, when you see Snappy Tom, I guess I could see why he's kind of a cultural icon and has made the rounds, because as I was saying, the fucking maw on this guy, when he opens his mouth, it is nuts. Yes, It's dangerous as fuck, but I almost feel like I could just sit in there and have a nice little comfortable, it's almost like a lazy boy in there with that big old tongue sticking out. It's like a cushion. It's inviting. You know, there are smaller apartments in New York City than his mouth, for sure. Yeah. For sure. And
he looks, when he's in the water and just his head is poking out, by the way, he looks like King K. Rool. From Donkey Kong. Like, he 100% is the villain of Donkey Kong, King K. Rool.
Just got to put the crown on
him. Not the villain of Donkey Kong, aka Mario, but King K. Rool. Yeah.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, I'm privy, man. I watched the animated Donkey Kong TV series made in Canada proudly.
It wasn't bad. Was it really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah. Same with Reboot, dude. They made that in
Reboot,
Canada,
of course. Reboot was fantastic.
Same studio. So yeah, that's that. I mean, fucking pour one out for fucking Snappy Tom here whenever the day comes. Never forget. Like, this guy, I think he's probably the king of the crocs.
He seems like, and he also just has an aura about him, like he's the Tony Soprano of crocs. Like, other crocs just respect him because they know that what's up. Like, I think he wasn't burgled by just a random party of people looking to steal a crocodile. I think he put feelers out and tried to make an escape from the sanctuary, and he hired these people somehow, as though he like El Chapo making a prison escape or something like that.
So, okay, I like that. We'll end on Snappy Tom for now by saying, if there's ever a crocodile that you could cuck for, I think this is the one.
Yeah, I think so.
I think this is the one. If you're going to go that route, call him up.
Yeah.
And then he's probably going to eat your girlfriend after, so just heads up.
That's true.
Just heads up there.
Looking to get rid of your girlfriend, call up Snappy Tom.
Executive producer is walking towards the birds. And Mikey, tell me, who's the executive producer on this show?
None other than Jeff Tremaine.
Of course it is. I don't know what the fuck he's doing out there, though. Why is he walking towards the birds? Like, what is
Just loves birds, and they call him out on it. It was really strange.
Hey, he's the bird nerd.
Yeah.
Well, how about a dangling red scrotum, a veiny blue shaft, and a hard helmet to top it all off? Here we have the wiener pigeon.
AKA the cassowary.
Yeah, but nobody calls it that.
No one calls it that. It's the wiener pigeon. Yeah. But this is again, so between the bird segment with Jeff Tremaine and this one with the wiener pigeon, like literally nothing happens in this one except them calling it the wiener pigeon, and then they just fuck off. Yeah.
They just fuck off. That's it, baby. But hey, don't worry. It's camel time. And just because, you know, you wouldn't expect to see a camel in Australia, probably, but they adjust well to the arid climate, I hear. And SteveO here doing some acrobatics. They're jumping on the camel. He climbs up on this thing, and like he's hanging on to the hump because he didn't quite clear the jump. And this thing just fucking takes off, and he's like riding the hump on this runaway camel. It's pretty great. Good visual.
It seems really talented. And this is the kind of thing I want more of. This is a good stunt. And SteveO, you know, barebacking that camel and staying on as it's going what looks like full. Not that bareback.
It's just something about it. Doesn't sound right. That's all.
It doesn't.
That's all.
No, this is a great visual. I loved it. I love watching SteveO bareback animals. Show me that all day, every day. Him riding off into the sunset with a thong as he clutches for dear life to the one hump on this camel. It was fantastic.
Yeah. Maybe he rode that camel all the way to the water dragon, which apparently, if you can catch one, they're worth a fortune at the pet shop. So Pontius, he picks this one up. He flops around a little bit in his hand. Like there's a lot of picking up small animals to see what will happen in this episode. I've noticed.
Yeah.
It's kind of a thing. Like it's like they didn't have a better idea, I guess.
This animal thrashes around. Like I've never understood the Pokemon move thrash as like an attack, but that's consistent across a lot of Pokemon until I saw this water dragon move.
Oh yeah. This is why I love having you on the podcast, because when segments like this come up and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck to say about this, you bust out the Pokemon reference and it fits perfectly.
That's always my go-to, because I'm always kind of thinking about Pokemon. I've already brought up Mudkip before. Now I got the thrash.
So Mikey, if everyone in the world farted at the same time into an air balloon, it would probably fly, according to
probably, he says, probably.
But nothing like the wedge-tailed eagle. And I mean, come on, that's the best intro of all time, because these two things are so far from being related, yet it's just great. It's poetry in a way. When they look up at the eagle as it takes off the branch and they go, "Fly, wedge-tailed eagle, fly like an eagle." It got me. I was laughing at that.
And then it lands on Pontius and scares SteveO, which is that is such a good encapsulation of the WildBoyz, where SteveO is frightened by it even though he's not interacting with it, and Pontius is face to face with it and as cool as a cucumber. It just again stresses how good the dynamic is that they have with these animals on the show.
Yeah, and you know the WildBoyz are real, you know, they are the WildBoyz after all, because I got to tell you, this ain't no ordinary bird. Like, this motherfucker attacks kangaroos, small children. It's dangerous. And they're so high on their own supply at this point that, Mikey, you mentioned diss tracks earlier. How about the diss to Steve Irwin here from SteveO?
Yeah.
What's going on? Do they have some beef? Was there some beef back then?
I guess Steve Irwin would have been alive at that point as well, but that hasn't aged well because now he's dead.
Oh, very dead. Yeah.
And you wonder, like, the circumstances surrounding his death were so mysterious. Did he watch this episode and stab himself with a stingray? That's the only thing I can think happened.
Look, if you're trying to create like a Tupac mystery here, I'm not buying it, man. I'm not buying it. But
there's Big E, there's Steve-O. Yeah, I think there's something we could write into this.
So up next, we've got the Water Python Puppet Show. This is the grumpiest of all the pythons. And I'm kind of starting to understand why Chris isn't here this episode now. It's starting to make a little more sense.
Yeah.
A lot of snakes. So, I mean, this is, like I said, the grumpiest of all pythons, except for mine, when I skip arm day, of course, notwithstanding. Yeah, I know it was a terrible joke. Fuck off. He constricts and kills a koala stuffy that they've brought. And it's basically, this is just, I feel like I don't really know what they're doing here. Like, was there a time constraint? Could they just not think of something better? I get it. They've interacted with a lot of snakes on the show, so there's only so many things you can do.
Yeah.
But this didn't do it for me. Like, I feel like they thought, okay, cool, if we have this koala hand puppet, that'll be enough to carry it. But not really.
It looks like they're immediately bored with it. Like they're not excited about it. And they're not getting the reaction out of the snake. You know, maybe they should have done what they did in Jackass 2, where Pontius puts the snake puppet or the sock puppet on his dick, like just do the same. Who knows? But like this one just didn't feel fun. I felt like everyone gave up on the bit before it even started, and that energy kind of sold or refused to sell the bit to me.
Yeah, definitely. The refusal to sell is a good point, because even Steve-O, I think, acknowledges that, okay, maybe this isn't coming across the way we want. So he tries to save the bit by pulling his pants down and asks Pontius, like, get this snake to bite my ass. America will love this, as he puts it. And he derobes and tries to get the bite, but Pontius is the one who gets the fucking bite, and Steve-O gets jealous that he didn't get bit.
That is good. That's really good.
Yeah.
They tried their best to salvage it, but there was a lot of just like strict animal being introduced to the camera. I wanted a little bit more silliness or stunt-oriented kinds of things in this episode, and you didn't get it. And for something where they tried to introduce the puppet, maybe that's what they had slated as like another non-nature documentary style sketch. And because that didn't work, I don't know, the episode just kind of fell flat a little bit to me. And I feel like there was an opportunity to save it with something like this, and they just didn't pull it off. Yeah,
exactly. And you know what? I think the highlight of the episode that we both kind of talked about came earlier with the now I'm drawing a blank now. What was that?
Are you talking about the camel?
No.
The walkabout?
You had said this is ridiculous. We've just spent an hour talking about the fucking thing, and I don't even remember. It is the centipede, but
yeah.
Jesus, man, what do I have, Alzheimer's or something? Listen, we end on a strange note here, though.
What a weird note to end on. Holy shit.
It feels like, they're just filling for time. And that's probably what happened, because, again, we remind you, this is for broadcast TV, so they have a quota of, like, you need this many, hours in a season or whatever, so every episode has to be this long. They are in a gondola, and Steve-O starts freaking out when we meet them here, and he's going, oh no, and I'm thinking, like, okay, like, are they about to like drop off the edge of the cliff here? Like, he seems really frightened. What's happening? Like, is something wrong in the gondola? No, it's just that someone farted in there, and it's so nasty that he hangs his head out the window and starts puking, and that's all that this is, and that's the end of the fucking episode. It was really weird. In
a better episode with more consistent sketches, this would have been funny as an interstitial, but to end off the episode, it's like, what are you guys doing? The only takeaway is the fact that he actually throws up out of the gondola, and you can maybe believe that it landed on someone, and they either to this day don't know what happened to them to just have been puked on, or got puked on and then one day saw this episode of WildBoyz and finally put two and two together. That would have been great.
Yeah, the old family on vacation there.
Yes.
Getting their tickets to go up in the gondola, and then surprise.
That's like how, Dave Matthews Band on his touring bus once emptied their tour bus's toilet, like their septic tank.
Yep.
Off a bridge, and it landed on a boat underneath the bridge.
Oh no. Oh, dude.
I mean, look, I'm used to Dave Matthews putting out a lot of shit, but like not literally,
Yeah, that is just like magnitudes worse, man. Like I can't. Just the thought of that. Like, imagine if it like kind of like the timing was off too when it emptied, and you got like a couple drips first. You're in your boat. You're like, oh, is it gonna? I think it's gonna rain. You look up and you just see like the cloud just coming towards you.
I would legitimately there would be an element of my life. I feel like I would be traumatized forever. That would be awful.
Stick your tongue out a little. Oh, it's raining. It's raining.
How often are you doing that? When it rains, you stick your tongue out. I don't think anyone. Maybe when it snows.
It's
maybe
more of a snowflake thing.
Yeah. Jay, do you want to get into our MVPs and LVPs of this episode?
I certainly do, as long as you go first.
Sure, I will go first. My MVP in this one, this is an easy choice. Actually, difficult because it's between two entities, but I think I'm going to have to go with the centipede because the timing of it was perfect. It's like a joke where the punchline shows itself and then buries itself and comes back at the exact right time. It disappeared for just enough time for you to forget that it had happened, and then it shows up again and gives us what I think is the best laugh of the episode. So the centipede is my MVP of WildBoyz Season 2, Episode 5.
Okay. No, I think the centipede is a great choice, and I almost went with the centipede as well, but there is one gentleman in this episode that really impressed me, because we've talked about how dangerous this landscape is, and it was the tour guide through the swamp. Dave,
Yeah.
I think his name was.
Yeah, his name was Dave Hitchens, I think. And Dave Hitchen.
Yeah, exactly. And like Dave, he didn't give a fuck. Like he was, to me, he's like pure blood Australian, whatever that is, because the fact that you can just walk through a pond of leeches and brush it off, go stand in the anthill and not even like shrug or anything that's gnarly. And I want to believe that those people exist in Australia, and he was proof of that. So you guys, you're hard. You're fucking hardcore down there, and I appreciate that. Dave, you win my MVP this time.
He is a pure-blooded Australian, which means he has half O positive and half Foster's is what exists in his bloodstream.
What's that fucking shit they put on bread down there? Vegemite?
Oh, Vegemite. Yes.
You got a little bit of that in there too.
Yeah, definitely. Consists of Foster's, Vegemite, and whatever his blood type is. Yeah.
By the way, I've never tried Vegemite ever, and I am curious if someone
I'll keep it that way.
If someone lives in Australia and that you listen, please write in at JackassPod and just try to describe it to us. Give us all the details: texture, flavor, consistency, whatever you got.
I don't need to try it. You can send it to Jay and I'll take his word for it, whatever it ends up being.
Do you think we could get a Vegemite sponsor on the podcast? Do you think that could happen? Could we line that up?
You know what? If you're in Australia, let's do it. Let's get it lined up. Yeah.
Imagine if you got a lifetime supply and it turns out you just fucking hate the stuff and they just keep sending it to you.
I would probably just start putting it in other people's peanut butter jars and hope that they don't notice the difference.
Dude, that is a really elaborate prank. First of all, how are you getting into people's homes to just start putting it in their peanut butter jars? And after the fact, what are you doing with all that peanut butter?
I've got Snappy Tom. He's going to get me access because he's the El Chapo of the animal kingdom. He'll get me access to everyone's place, and I don't need to take the peanut butter back with me. I'll give it to Snappy Tom. I'll give him the peanut butter. I'll replace their peanut butter with Vegemite and be on my merry way.
Yeah. 70-year-old crocodile dies from peanut butter overdose. Source unknown.
Turns out Snappy Tom has a peanut allergy. You're like, fuck. Okay, so I'll go with my LVP. This is going to be a bit of a strange one, but my LVP for this episode is going to be Jeff Tremaine. Did not orchestrate a good episode. This, it's Australia. There's so much to do, and it just felt lazy. And there's only so much blame you can put on Steve-O and Pontius. They're trying their best, but there just weren't any good ideas here. And without knowing exactly who's responsible for the conceptualization of the ideas versus filming and editing, I'm not sure. But Jeff, I'm sure the buck stops with you. You're the highest paid person on site, and you're the one who let this episode go out as is, and I wasn't that satisfied with it.
He was too fucking busy, like, chasing birds and bird watching and shit,
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, this could have been a better episode. I'm a little bit disappointed to say that, even, because I always have fun with WildBoyz. I don't think I've been too critical on an episode. Like, I know it's, even with some of the Jackass episodes in the past, I've said, I didn't really like this one. They could have did better. And I feel like now this might be one of the first times I'm saying that for WildBoyz and really feeling it. And it's kind of a bummer, because like I always have so much fun with Steve-O and Pontius that,
I agree. I think there were moments like this in season 1, but so far season 2 has been really good, and this has been the first kind of misstep. So, I'm not souring on WildBoyz, but this was just not the best. And I wonder if they just had so much footage from season 1 episode, the season 1 Australia episode, that they just cobbled together this episode using that extra footage, maybe. But this one, just in general, I wasn't too sold on it.
Yeah. So LVP for me.
Yeah.
Unless you had another thought.
No, go for it.
Okay. LVP for me on this one. It's worms, man, because they don't know that the whole fucking world is laughing at them. They're like the 18-year-old.
Fuck you, worms.
Yeah, they're like the 18-year-old who says, I'm going to get a liberal arts degree. And then
they
go to college.
Fuck.
And you might just be a worm, Mikey, but stay tuned.
Well, I've heard
stay
that before.
tuned. They don't know. They think they're going to go and, they're going to go and make it big with their liberal arts degree, and you got to support them because you love them at the end of the day. But when they leave the nest and you see them out there all dried up on the concrete after a heavy rain, you just wonder, that motherfucker didn't make it.
Didn't make it. And look, I am often compared to a dried up, shriveled piece of shit on the concrete after a heavy rain being my tears. So I can also relate to these liberal arts worms. Yeah.
Listen, I'm not shitting on you if you got a liberal arts degree. It's fine.
I am. We all made terrible decisions. It's fine.
I'm sure there's some usage for it. I'm just saying, we all know you're jealous of the centipedes of the world.
Yes, they have way more legs than us.
That's okay.
I want to say before we go out, there is a review that I found on for our podcast on Jackass, and it is a review. It says, "Yo," that's the title.
Yo.
The review is, "Hi from Australia. Love the banter." There you go.
Oh, I was expecting more, but no, still rad from Australia. I love you.
Yeah. Fuck
yeah.
Send us some Vegemite.
Please do. Please hook us up, because I don't even know. I don't think you can even buy that here. I've never seen that before.
I doubt it. I doubt it.
You'd think like there'd be someone importing that stuff or whatever, but yeah. I guess that takes us to the end of another
you can order it
episode.
on Amazon, actually. You can order it on Amazon.
No shit.
Yeah.
All right. Well, who knows? Maybe in the next episode or episodes future, we'll do the Vegemite test. I don't know. Probably not. Send us some Vegemite.
Probably not.
Hey, if you want to chat with us at JackassPod, as usual, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, wherever you want to find us, we are there, and you can come check out our stuff. And thanks for all your support over the I can almost now say over the years. We're actually getting pretty close to 2 fucking years, which is mind-blowing. It does not feel like that. So I just want to say thanks for everybody who listens in every week, and if you rate and review the show, that always helps us as well. We like to remind you every now and then, because I think if you, at this point, like I remember, Mikey, when we started out, there was a point where you type in Jackass podcast and we were ghosts, you know?
Yeah.
Now, if you type in Jackass on a podcast app, not even Jackassed, but Jackass, we come up, and like, I take pride in that, because man, we stuck it out. We've been here for this long. Fucking A. It's all because of you guys, though. So thank you for doing it, and for tuning in every week. We love you.
Well said.
But yeah, I think that's it. Unless you have any closing thoughts on this episode of WildBoyz.
Nothing. I'm excited about the next episode. Let's give a prediction. Where do we think we're going next week?
Yeah. Good call. Shit. Okay. So Australia. We did Africa.
I'm gonna say somewhere in the United States.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Like an offshoot. Okay.
Yeah.
Look, I don't want this to be my guess, but do you know is there a WildBoyz episode that takes place in some like remote northern place that's really fucking cold? Like
Antarctica. Well, Antarctica would be south. We've done Alaska. Alaska was season 1, but they can always go back. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm not, you know what I'm going to go with? I'm going to go with the competition, and I might lose all my fans and all the goodwill I've generated over this episode, but let's pick New Zealand.
Ooh, that was my pick last week, but let's see. I'm excited. I would love to see New Zealand and see how it stacks up to Australia.
Two-Faced Jay over here. Two-Faced Jay. Can't trust him. And hey, with that, we thank you again for tuning in to Jackass. We'll see you next week with another episode of the WildBoyz. Until then, bye. I'm Jason Wellwood.
Bye. I'm Mikey Aronworth, and this has been Jackass.
Furnished by Sad Styles Productions.
Get into it.